Is Kyler Murray in the elite tier for NFL quarterbacks? So, Ryan, is Kyler Murray an elite quarterback? Now he's coming off a doo-doo performance against the Detroit Lions. Doo-doo against Detroit. Like you could like create an episode of a sitcom, and it would have been called Doo-doo in Detroit. So
it was flat out embarrassing. I mean, I think they know it. They're just trying to, brush it off, and they have a short week, with the Colts on Christmas Day. But you know what? I think my opinion's changed. See, going into the season, I think I had Kyler in the 5 to 10 range for quarterbacks, maybe closer to 10 than to 1, obviously. But then things changed. Before the injury, he was looking like one of the best quarterbacks in the league. I would agree with this question. Top 3, maybe even number 1. But then he gets hurt, and then his season goes down. Luckily they had a bye, so we can get another week to not play. But then against the Bears, he didn't really have to do too much. And then Rams and Lions, disgusting. So, I mean, there was just some plays that he could have easily made. I think the first play, first opportunity to get a touchdown, miscommunication with Green against the Rams. And I got to say, the biggest trait which changed my opinion with Murray is just the negative plays. Like, whenever he takes sacks, I think he leads the league in most yards given up per sack, and that can't happen. You can run for your life and make a spectacular play, and everyone can love you, but at the end of the day, if half of those don't work out, man, you're just putting yourself and the team in the gutter. So that's what I really take away with Kyler. And sometimes, there are guys wide open, or maybe it wasn't the first read, but you know what? He can't just look at the first read. And that's what I think was the focal point in terms of the Lions game. I think Kirk was wide open on a play on the side on a third down. He didn't see him. He ends up getting sacked, when really it was the offensive line that did their part. It was pretty much a coverage sack, but at the same time, Kirk was open, didn't get it to him. So I got to say no. And I think there's still time left. You have the Colts, Cowboys, Seahawks, but I think my opinion stays true before the season. I think he's around 5 to 10, and that doesn't make him elite. So I think elite is obviously 1 to 3 in that range, and I can firmly say it's Brady, Rodgers, and then you can make the argument for other guys as well. But really, I don't see Kyler up there right now.
It's funny you should say that about him and where he leads in yards lost per sack. He in total yards lost for sacks, he is 7th in the NFL, 219 yards.
Where's Justin Fields?
Justin Fields is actually 5th, and that's not counting what happened tonight. So coming into tonight, Justin Fields had lost 234 yards. Yeah. And Justin Fields has been sacked a whopping 12.5% of the time he drops back, and that was coming into tonight. So that's pretty ugly. But the thing about Kyler Murray is that Kyler Murray is averaging an average of 8.7 yards lost per sack. So that does speak to the fact that he's doing a lot behind the line of scrimmage. A lot of people don't realize this, and we're talking a lot about Detroit. But as great as Barry Sanders was, Barry Sanders had the most rushes for loss of any running back in NFL history. And when you are that kind of guy who is going to try to keep a play alive and going to try to do a lot of bouncing back and forth, when it works, it's spectacular. But more often than not, it doesn't. So there's a time period where you have to learn when to live the fight another day to limit the damage. Tom Brady is a perfect example of a guy like that, who totally, maybe even to a fault, knows when he'll give it up in a second. I'm going to hit the dirt, or I'm going to throw it clean the hell out of bounds, right? And, this is what we're going to do. Kyler Murray is not that kind of guy. Kyler Murray is going to try to make a play whenever he can. Fans love him for it until it doesn't work. And then you start to hear some of the whispers, and people start telling them to go play second base and go play center field, and all kinds of things are going on. But
or slot receiver.
Yeah, I don't think that he is an elite quarterback yet. And one of the things that I do look at the subtraction plays that he has. I do look at some ball security stuff. He has been very, very fortunate that he has not lost more fumbles than he has this year. I mean, he has really had a hard time keeping a handle on the football this year. He leads the NFL with 11 fumbles this year. Just so happens he hasn't lost a lot of them, but he's had 11 fumbles. Wow. So you look at that kind of stuff. You look at the minus plays that he makes, and then you also look at the team and the weapons that he has on the field. Even though DeAndre Hopkins has been hobbled much of the year, but he's got a resurgent AJ Green, who's still not a Hall of Famer, despite what Paul thinks.
Come on, man.
He's got Zach Ertz, he's got Rondale Moore, he's got Christian Kirk, he's got Edmonds, he's got weapons all over the place, right? And we're looking at guys with less doing more or similar numbers than him. And so because of that, I wouldn't call him an elite guy. I think he's definitely capable of becoming that. But I think there's another level of maturity that needs to happen with Kyler Murray before he can step into that spot. I mean, you think about it. This is only his third season, in the NFL. And he's always gotten sacked a lot. Like rookie year, he led the league in sacks. He got sacked 48 times, right? So those numbers are going to be back up again this year because last year he got sacked 27 times in 16 games. This year he's already been sacked 25 times in 11 games. So, he's probably going to get sacked more this year than he did last year. But, he's a solid guy and definitely on the uptick, but not elite at this point. So I would say he's not. What do you say, Paul?
I'll say this. First off, Detroit literally doubled their wins. I mean, come on, Ryan, for God's sakes. I mean, Jesus. But anyway,
it happened.
And now they don't have the number one pick, so they really appreciate that. I mean, no. Kyler Murray has obviously come up short. Just short. Anywho, let me get back. I mean, the fact of the matter is this. If there was some sort of, NFL combine, triathlon kind of thing, Kyler Murray may be the guy, fast and can throw in a pair of shorts and looks great. But to me, the elite category, and it's subjective. You said, kind of like top 3 quarterback in the league, Brady, Rodgers, Mahomes type for me. To me, it's putting up the elite numbers. That's part of it for me. And also playoff success. To be an elite guy, you need to have that kind of success. And again, 3-year sample size, I can only judge him on what's been here so far. That just doesn't exist yet. It just hasn't existed yet for Kyler Murray. And while obviously it looks like they're going to get into the playoffs this year, how far will they go with DeAndre Hopkins if and when he returns at some point? That to me is a big question. So big-time players make big-time plays, and he's made a lot of them this year. But to me, the playoffs is what's going to determine whether or not he's elite. Right now, when you lose to the Detroit Lions, when the number 1 seed is on the line, that doesn't happen. That shouldn't happen, quite frankly. If you can't lose your focus, what were they, 7-0 on the road heading into that game against Detroit, a dead in the water type team. You just can't lose that kind of game. They lost that kind of game. He's got a lot to prove if he wants to join the elite category. To me, prior to the year, he wasn't, and still now, he has not joined that discussion.
Yeah, what do you say, Lorenzo?
The doo-doo emoji, Ryan, definitely applies to the Cardinals. That's the best emoji I would describe. Now, as far as Kyler Murray being elite, it's a clean sweep. He's not elite yet. I mean, I judge quarterbacks more on how they take care of the football, especially during this time of year. He hasn't proven that just yet. And then to go to Detroit, you're a 12.5 favorite. You're a 12.5 favorite, or I believe it was 13 by some, and then to lose by 18 this late in the year. I mean, Arizona is now playing like a team that could be one and done. And, I mean, Kyler could probably do well in like an NFL-themed decathlon or triathlon or maybe in the winter sports realm, speed skating. But I mean, right now, yeah, it is a sport.
That's specific. I like Blades of Glory. Will Ferrell. That's a good movie.
Where in the devil did speed skating come from?
Well, I wasn't going to say curling.
Well,
why are we talking about the Olympics?
But anyway,
Winter Olympics is coming.
But Kyler Murray though. I mean, I wouldn't even put him right now in the top 7. I think he barely cracks the top 10 right now. I just feel like that, quarterbacks, like the elite of the elite, know how to take care of the football. And right now, Kyler's not there yet.
They laid an egg, man. I mean, I think Dan Campbell heard me the other day or a couple of weeks ago. I was making fun of him, saying that maybe a high school team he could coach. I think he pretty much heard me.
Planet Fitness as well.
Something like that, yeah. And I think Dan
definitely Ryan said that, yeah, for sure.
Yeah, so pretty brutal.
Bishop Sycamore, or your favorite high school, Brian? Bishop Sycamore.
Yeah, that's my favorite place, man. You got to go there. It's an experience. It's an experience. It really is. I would have to agree with you. I had to take a look at what we had in the NFL in terms of the quarterbacks. I would probably say I have Kyler Murray 8th, honestly, the 8th best quarterback in this league. So, no, actually 9th. I'm sorry, actually 9th, because I would put Josh Allen ahead of him.
Herbert.
I would put Lamar.
Herbert's numbers. Yeah, Herbert's definitely near the top
Lamar
5.
ahead of him. I put Mahomes ahead of him. I put Herbert ahead of him. Dak Prescott goes ahead of him.
Mac Jones.
Aaron Rodgers goes ahead of him.
I thought Zach Wilson for Paul.
Tom Brady already also obviously goes ahead of him.
I feel like Dak and Kyler are like neck and neck, because I think Dak hasn't been that great lately. You've been watching. If you've been watching Dak lately, he hasn't been that great.
Nah,
even against the
Giants.
If you've been watching Dak
play at a level that I've never seen Kyler play.
That's fair.
Oh, okay, maybe earlier in the year, but we're talking now. I don't know about that. I think Dak has pretty much been maybe not as bad as Murray, but I didn't really see anything that was impressive against the Giants or the Saints.
Like I think players go through stretches and stuff here and there. But I've seen Dak play at a level that I have not seen Kyler play.
Okay.
And the last person I'd say is Russell Wilson.
That's why I think it's neck and neck, because I don't think it's a really big comparison.
No, I don't know if it's a huge gap. I mean, I think it's even more arguable that Justin Herbert, he's better than Justin Herbert. I think it's even more arguable that Kyler's better than him. So,